You read the title and you've heard the news. Battlefield 6 just released its Battle Royale mode. It's called redsec. Get ready to put some hair on that chest, dweeb. I've now dumped like 4 or 5 hours into it, which obviously compared to many others is nothing. That's like a very pitiful amount. But for me, it's enough to give you a review of it because I now feel like I've pretty much experienced everything the game mode has to offer. And it's no secret, I haven't been the biggest Battle Royale enthusiast in many years now. The only one I keep up with is Apex Legends. It's just a genre that I find to be extremely stale at this point, just super bland. It's like the 6-7 of game genres, where just hearing about Battle Royale makes me fucking cringe like that god-awful meme. It's just, I'm so tired of it. But I like Battlefield 6, so I thought it only fair that I give this one a shake to see if it's any good. And now I can confidently say, it's fine. There's no huge flaws with it. The tanks are kind of annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just a very by-the-numbers, very generic Battle Royale mode that they seem to have just slapped on here like a hemorrhoid, because there's no reason not to have a Battle Royale mode. It's only a boon to the game because there are plenty of people that will play the Battle Royale that maybe weren't interested in playing the multiplayer. And the Battle Royale is free. So it gets a lot of people in the door, and then maybe they turn into a paying customer. So it makes a lot of sense, but boy howdy, let me tell you, it really does feel like they just tried to draw Warzone from memory here for redsec. It is 1-to-1 in certain instances. Like, it feels very copy and pasted in a lot of ways. Like, I'm pretty confident there are times where you could show side-by-side gameplay of Warzone and redsec, and you wouldn't be able to differentiate which is which. It is very similar in a lot of ways, but the thing that sets it apart is the Battlefield 6 gunplay. Like, the gameplay elements in Battlefield 6 versus Warzone are very different. And for my tastes, I prefer it. So I've had more fun with redsec than I had with Warzone. Warzone I have many more hours than redsec with, obviously, but I fucking hate Warzone now. I think it sucks major ass. That is some turbo cheeks over there. redsec at least feels fun to play. It feels nice. I prefer the Battlefield formula, so I've been having more fun with redsec. But if you already like Warzone, I don't know if redsec's going to win you over. The game mode is extremely similar to Warzone. You are likely going to just stick with the one that you prefer the gameplay of. So if you're someone that likes the less movement-based shooting of Battlefield, you're probably going to prefer redsec. But if you already like the Call of Duty formula and all the movement tech there, redsec's not going to be stealing you over there. It's not going to be taking the Warzone lunch money, I don't think. I feel like it's just going to be boiled down to a matter of personal preference in gunplay. And for me, I prefer Battlefield 6 gunplay. Like, everything in Battlefield 6 gameplay, I vastly prefer to Call of Duty. But again, redsec and Warzone are so incredibly similar, I can't see a fucking world in the entirety of Doctor Strange peering into the multiverse. I can't imagine he would see one where Warzone players are so blown away by redsec specifically that they leave Warzone for it, if they already prefer the Call of Duty gameplay. Because redsec just does Warzone with Battlefield gameplay in tanks. That's really it. Like, I can't find any other big differences. Maybe the ladder. You get to place a ladder down in redsec if you play assault or something, or like the artillery strikes. But even then, there's comparable things in Warzone. It's just very, 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 very similar. So there's nothing crazy about redsec. It's just been there, done that standard Battle Royale shit. And if you're someone that likes Battle Royales, you'll probably have fun with it if you already like Battlefield 6 gameplay. It's just as simple as that. But it's worth mentioning that Battlefield devs here are really trying to shove redsec down the throat of everyone that plays Battlefield 6, even if they're not interested in redsec. So I've been seeing that there's been a lot of negative reviews, not even so much about redsec existence, because if you don't care about Battle Royales, just ignore it. But they've tied a lot of like weekly challenges and shit to playing redsec, so you like needing to farm and all of that. And it seems like there's going to be a big emphasis on like the premium currencies and shit now. It feels as though that even though redsec is fine, it's just a really standard Battle Royale, it is alarming to the community who believes that this could be the vanguard of more things to come that they just don't want. Like, you can ignore redsec and not play it and just miss out on the XP tied to the challenges. Plenty of people will do that. Yeah, it's a bit of a headache for some players, sure, but you can just ignore it. What you can ignore is if redsec takes off, the resources that they'll pump into redsec that they might be taking away from the rest of Battlefield 6 multiplayer experience. So there's many in the community showing legitimate concern that maybe the rest of Battlefield 6 starts to be neglected as they try and focus more on redsec so it can stand toe-to-toe with Warzone and try and squeeze some of those players over to redsec because they'd make more money that way. So I understand the concern there. Like, that does check out. Like, that makes sense. And it does seem like they're placing a huge emphasis on it, which isn't surprising. It's a brand new mode they've introduced. But yeah, it remains to be seen if redsec is going to end up being like the primary development focus to try and, blast as much money out of it as they possibly can from the community. But I am very curious to see how everything shakes out. I truly don't think redsec is going to be a battle royale that stands the test of time that people are playing even 3 years from now. As I said, in its current state, it is like the most bare bones battle royale experience. It is clearly an afterthought to Battlefield 6, something that they put in here because they knew it's a very popular game mode that will get a lot of people to check out their game, get them in the door, get their feet in the door because it's free. And battle royales are still just so popular. Even though the genre went through oversaturation for a while, there's still no shortage of battle royales for people to choose from. But you'll probably notice most people just stick to the big ones that they already like. Warzone, Fortnite, whatever. I don't see redsec doing anything here that's going to get anyone to stick with redsec. What I think's more likely is people will try redsec and maybe if they really like the gameplay, they'll buy the multiplayer and then just stick to playing the multiplayer because it's just the better version of the game. Why would you be playing a watered down version of Battlefield 6's multiplayer with redsec when you could just play the multiplayer? So I just don't think that there's a lot of staying power to redsec. I could be very wrong. I guess we'll see. Only time will tell. But my early impressions here are it is just fine. It is just Warzone, but better if you like Battlefield gameplay. So if you're looking at redsec wondering if it does anything new and different in the genre to stand out, the answer is no. The differences between redsec and Warzone are pretty small in terms of like the actual design of it. The differences in gameplay are substantial, but like the actual mode itself is almost one-to-one with Warzone. Again, the only differences I could pick up are the tanks, the ring of fire. Instead of having like continuous damage if you're outside the zone, you just die, which I do think is a good change. I actually really like that change. I think that's solid. And then the only other one is like classes. So like the classes carry over from Battlefield 6 where you could be like assault and put up a fucking ladder, or recon, support, engineer, that kind of thing. But I can't think of anything else that's different from like an actual design perspective of redsec versus Warzone. The rest is just the exact meal you're expecting to eat with this mode. And for some people, maybe that's exactly what you want. For me, I just am tired of the genre, so it doesn't really stick with me as something I'm going to be actively playing. When I want to play Battlefield 6, I won't be choosing redsec. I'll just be doing the normal multiplayer. Anyway, though, I just wanted to drop this little review on you here. That's really about it. See ya.